Abolish ICE. Is that a controversial statement? Still, abolish ICE. Unless you can make a convincing argument not to, unless you can make a convincing argument that reforming this fascist, heavily funded agency is enough, abolish ICE. We have seen in what seems like a very short period of time an already out of control government agency invading essentially American cities, treating them like they are hostile foreign territories, unleashing agents to commit violence against peaceful protesters. An ICE agent murdered a woman by shooting her in the face as she was driving away from him. In response to this, the administration, the Trump regime, and prominent members in it, like Donald J.D. Vance, puppy murderer Kristi Noem, and others, have blamed the victim, have claimed without any evidence whatsoever that Renee Good, who was, again, murdered, was a domestic terrorist, that she was a paid agitator, that she was vicious and disrespectful. I did not know that being vicious and disrespectful was grounds for being killed, especially coming from a regime that is as vicious and disrespectful as you can imagine. Democrats, on the other hand, instead of using the momentum of this horrific crime committed against an American citizen by a federal employee, have decided that the best they can do is to propose making changes to ICE. In the upcoming budget discussions, they plan to use the continuation of ICE funding, or I should say, they plan to threaten to freeze ICE funding unless certain conditions are met. For example, curbing excessive force, requiring officers to be more easily identified. In other words, prevent them from covering their faces with face masks. I don't know why Democrats have always been so weak on immigration. I don't know, and by that I mean this. I don't know why they have always thought that the best thing they can do when it comes to immigration policy is tack to the right. I don't know why they constantly continue to vote to fund agencies like the Department of Homeland Security and ICE that shouldn't have existed in the first place. ICE is underwater, just like Donald's approval rating across every category. Over 50% of Americans agree that ICE should be defunded. And if you defund it, then that would essentially be the end of it. I do not see how you can, in this climate, reform an agency that is awash in billions of dollars, that is being led by Nazis, that is essentially doing no vetting of the people they're hiring, that is unleashing these untrained thugs into American cities. How, under those circumstances, do you reform this agency when the people running the agency don't want reform? They want the worst of the worst, the people that ICE was supposed to be deporting, to be unleashed in order to prevent Americans from exercising their First Amendment rights to protest peacefully. They want to keep us afraid. They want to shut us up. It is not helpful when Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota comes out and essentially both sides this issue. Come on, guys, we don't, let's keep it calm. Guess what? We are. And it is not preventing them from being murderous thugs who throw tear gas at peaceful protesters, who throw them to the ground without any provocation whatsoever, who are so thin-skinned and insecure that being yelled at is grounds to pull their weapons. Renee Good was doing nothing wrong. She was sitting in her car. She actually said to the ICE officer who eventually murdered her, "Not mad at you, dude." And again, when another ICE agent was trying to get into her vehicle and telling her to get the fuck out of the car, she decided perhaps her best course of action was to remove herself from the scene. She backed up a couple of feet. She turned the steering wheel away from all of the officers. And then Jonathan Ross crossed over in front of her car, shot her once through the windshield and twice through the driver's side car door. What exactly was she doing to deserve that fate? We are doing what any American has the right to do. And they are still claiming that they have the right through violence to shut us up. Here's a pro tip for blue state governors and blue city mayors. Instead of telling Americans who reasonably object to these fascistic tactics being carried out on their fellow citizens and on our immigrants and undocumented workers, how about you teach people how to protect themselves during protests? How about you teach them what kind of clothes to wear and what kind of supplies to bring? Maybe teach them how to protect each other. And here's a thought for you. Engage your own local law enforcement and your National Guard and tell them that if ICE agents cross a line, that they are to be arrested. Regardless of what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Kristi Noem have to say, ICE agents cannot act with impunity. There is no such thing as absolute immunity, and they must be held to account. And if possible, they must be stopped before they are allowed to commit more crimes. We do not need Americans staying home because they're too afraid to trigger the violence that is clearly right there to be triggered in these ICE agents. We need Americans out in the street. We need more Americans aware of what's going on. And those protesters, again, need to be protected. So protect them. Because here's another thought. Do we seriously think that these insecure, small men who only feel power if they're dressed up in military garb and carrying around assault weapons and putting masks over their face, do we seriously think that men like that are going to be able to stand up to armed law enforcement who are there to keep the peace and protect the citizens? I don't think so. So let's stop pretending that both sides are the problem here. One side is the problem. And it is the side that is willing to excuse the murder of an American citizen for having committed the crime of doing nothing, except perhaps make an ICE agent feel less than. Do we really think that what the Trump regime stands for, what the Trump regime is allowing to happen, what the Trump regime is indeed encouraging to happen, is going to is as equivalent to protesters having a problem with that. I kind of got tongue-tied there for a second because this makes me so very angry. Democrats are the only party that has the ability to change things. There is literally no evidence to suggest that things are going to get better anytime soon. What else do they need to see to convince them that the only way forward is to prove to American voters that they care and that they understand how deeply, deeply wrong the situation in which we find ourselves is? That they understand that the only way to get our country back is to dismantle agencies like ICE. I don't think that that should be a difficult argument to make. So, Democrats, make it. Let the American people know that you understand the seriousness of what is at stake. Because this is going to get much, much, much worse before it gets better. And the longer we wait to make the case that Democrats have the solution to these horrific problems we're dealing with, the harder it's going to be. Let's dive in. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's episode of Mary Trump Live. Yeah, I'm a little angry today, I have to be honest. I mean, I find it a little surprising, even though it shouldn't surprise me, that Democrats are still dancing around this stuff. Because again, what else needs to happen? How many more innocent, unarmed, nonviolent protesters need to be killed or illegally detained or sent over to gulags before, I don't know, Democrats realize that there's a problem and that the problem isn't the protesters. The problem is the agencies that empower the kind of people who are not just comfortable with, but capable of murdering a woman in cold blood and then calling her a fucking bitch. Think about that, please. And also, Jonathan Ross was actually trained, unlike most of the new recruits being hired by ICE. So, going to keep talking about this, obviously, because it kind of feels like there's so much hanging in the balance right now. And Minnesota is kind of ground zero. Today, people in that state are continuing to protest ICE's presence in their state, and they're continuing to denounce, as they should, the killing of Renee Good by Jonathan Ross. Tensions are continuing to rise. I'm sure it helped tremendously that Secretary of Homeland Security and property murderer Kristi Noem sent more ICE agents into Minneapolis. That'll definitely turn down the temperature. That Nazi has got her agenda. Time reports that yesterday, federal agents shot a Venezuelan man in the leg, I guess for being a Venezuelan man. The agent claimed the man had been fleeing and resisting arrest. Well, which was it? I mean, unless fleeing is a form of resisting arrest, I guess. But if you're fleeing, then that suggests that you're running away and not causing a threat and probably shouldn't be shot. Earlier this week, a Minnesota resident posted an update on Threads that went viral. She described the widespread terror being caused by ICE and Customs and Border Patrol there. Quick thing, because I think it's important. Americans are terrible at geography, so let's point something out. Customs and Border Patrol is supposed to patrol the border. That is the border, not between. I don't know anything about Minnesota. See, Americans in geography, not between two separate towns in Minnesota, but between America and Mexico. That's the border we're talking about. Last I checked, Minnesota is pretty far from the Mexican border. It does not share a contiguous border with Mexico. So what in the world are Customs and Border Patrol agents doing in Minnesota? Anyway, Martin said, quote, I don't know how much people are seeing outside of Minnesota, but I can assure you it's worse than you can imagine. We are not okay. They're kidnapping citizens, going door to door in many neighborhoods, knocking down doors, shoving and threatening bystanders. Kids are not going to school. People of color are afraid to leave their homes and carrying their citizenship papers with them. ICE is literally everywhere. Yes, we have arrived at the show me your papers point in this particular timeline. Meanwhile, the Trump regime keeps sending more and more agents whose tactics are growing increasingly aggressive because essentially they have been given permission by their boss, actually by their boss's boss's boss, to do whatever they want if, let's see, what are the circumstances under which they should do whatever they want? If they think their lives legitimately, reasonably are in danger, if they are being physically attacked, if somebody is coming at them with some kind of weapon. No. Because I would understand. I mean, not do whatever they want, but, act appropriately. They're being told that it is okay to use violence if they feel disrespected. Really? Well, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. Here's a clip of ICE agents using tear gas on peaceful protesters.
We have munitions fired. Flashbangs based on the sound. Whoa, they're rushing us.
God, what are they doing?
Oh.
Is that tear gas or is that?
It's a gas. It's So get out of it though. We get recommended if you don't get into it. They've shot tear gas or gas into the crowds. Police.
Hey, are you okay? Another one.
There is a large amount of it. The entire you can't see the officers as they have. No, there's a handful of people that are on the ground. I think they're surrounding someone.
Right to be here. We have a constitutional right to assemble here. You are committing treason. You are violating our constitutional rights. You are committing treason. This is treason. We have a right to be here. We have a constitutional right to assemble.
Does that look like America to you? I mean, it is. But is that your idea of what should happen in America? Do those look like police officers? Now, the militarization of our police forces has been an alarming trend for decades now. We have police departments in this country that have tanks and RPGs. Those look like people heading into armed conflict in some other war-torn country. Journalists have been speaking to locals who've been moved to protest the unwanted occupation of their state. Here's what one demonstrator had to say.
This is nuts. This is fucking, yeah, and you're right in the middle of this shit. What the fuck is going on, dude? This is insane.
Have you ever gone out to these sort of things before?
Never. I've never protested in my life. My brother's here. He does it all the time. I've never. Like I said, I'm far enough away, but close enough, and I sit in my cushy house and look at shit and get mad, and they're just trying to fucking scare people, and but why shoot people? You know what really pisses me off is the fact that they detain people, cuff them, and then still beat the shit out of them. They tell you it's immigrants, only immigrants. It's fucking anybody. I have friends that got detained, and all they were doing was fucking driving home from work. What the fuck?
Sounds like you don't fit the definition of the...
No, and I'm not fucking paid to be here like everybody fucking says. What the fuck is that? I gotta work in the goddamn morning, just like everybody else. I'm just here trying to stand up for community, dude. We're all human beings here. I don't give a shit who you are, where you came from, what color you are. It doesn't fucking matter. This is wrong.
This is wrong. And he owes a lot of money to the Joe Colorado swear jar. But it's understandable that that's the reaction people are having. It is wrong. It shouldn't matter who you are, where you come from. Nobody should be treated with the kind of violence and indiscriminate, indiscriminate violence and total lack of respect for humanity with which people are being treated by ICE officers. Just hearing that the El Paso medical examiner says it will rule the death of a 55-year-old Cuban man at ICE's Camp East Montana tent camp as a homicide. The victim was allegedly choked to death by a guard during a struggle, quote unquote struggle, after he refused to enter a housing unit without his medications. So, will that matter? I'm guessing the guard will be given immunity and hailed as a hero, and somebody will set up a GoFundMe for him so he can make millions of dollars, just like the murderer of Renee Good. Increasingly, it seems that Donald is intentionally provoking violence. Well, let me rephrase that. Donald has been intentionally provoking violence since the beginning, but given the fact that he's been reined in a bit, kind of, by the judiciary, it seems that he is intentionally escalating matters in order to justify invoking the Insurrection Act. This is a law that allows the President of the United States to deploy federal troops or federalize the National Guard to suppress unrest inside the U.S., because that worked out really well in Los Angeles and D.C., didn't it? I don't think there's any reining him in, by the way. I think that ship has sailed. We've crossed the Rubicon. This afternoon, Donald posted on his failing social media site, quote, "If the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that great state." Well, not many presidents, first of all. And secondly, last I checked, state governors don't answer to you. Also, I keep telling you, Donald, stop looking in the mirror when you say such things. You professional agitator and insurrectionist. None. I mean, I don't know. I can't say with total certainty because I don't know. But I'm pretty sure these are not paid professional agitators. They're not like the people Donald has paid to show up to his rallies and stuff. These are real people expressing their disgust at the fact that a federal agency has been unleashed in their communities. In a press conference after Donald's post, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt spread the same kind of lies that Donald has been spreading. Check this out.
The Insurrection Act is a tool at the president's disposal. As you know, it has been used sparingly, but it has been used by previous presidents in American history. And I think the president's Truth Social post spoke very loud and clear to Democrats across this country, elected officials who are using their platforms to encourage violence against federal law enforcement officers, who are encouraging left-wing agitators to unlawfully obstruct legitimate law enforcement operations. And if you talk to any law enforcement officer, no matter what level they work at, they want to be working with their counterparts, whether that's at the federal level or the federal authorities wanting to work with their counterparts at the state and local level. And it's truly shameful that now for more than a year, you've had elected Democrat governors and mayors who have basically held their state and local law enforcement hostage and told them, you cannot cooperate with federal law enforcement. Why? They cooperated under the Biden administration. It's because these Democrats are deranged in their hatred for President Trump, and they are holding their state and local law enforcement hostage as a result.
Oh, that could have started sooner. So yeah, the Insurrection Act has been used about 30 times, but generally speaking, it's been used to promote a national policy. Like, for example, it was used to enforce school desegregation during the civil rights era by 3 different presidents. And it was used by Ulysses Grant against the KKK. Seems like a reasonable choice. And, sometimes it's been used, as George H.W. Bush used it, to quell riots. The last time it was used, in fact, was for that reason in 1992, when the LA riots raged out of control. ICE is carrying out the violence. No, I don't know of any Democratic politician who is encouraging anybody to commit violence against law enforcement. I don't know of any because there aren't any. It is the Republicans who are calling on law enforcement to commit violence against American citizens. That is not what these agencies are for. And the thing is, I don't actually know anymore what the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are for. I think they have outlived whatever limited usefulness they ever had, and they must be abolished. Because Donald just can't stop being vile. In an interview with Reuters, he openly mused about ending our democracy. I don't know why he's openly musing about it. I mean, he's actively doing it. So, why bother talking about it? He was discussing this year's election, the midterms in November. He said, quote, "It's some deep psychological thing. But when you win the presidency, you don't win the midterms. When you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election," unquote. Well, that's one way of looking at it, I suppose. See, American voters are a fickle bunch. So the pattern is that in the midterm following a presidential election, the party that won the presidency loses the midterms. It's not a psychological thing for the president. It's the psychology of American voters. I guess they're just easily disappointed. I don't know. So if passage prolonged, then yes, the Republicans will likely lose, thank goodness, at least the House in November. And things are getting so very bad. I think that the chances that the Democrats can win back the Senate are increasing. But based on what horrors have been unleashed by the Trump regime since January 20th, 2025, like, by all rights, Democrats should get, I don't know, 100 seats in the House. Every Republican running should lose. Levitt also touched on this statement in her presser, and this is how she handled it.
My question is, President Trump has talked twice in recent days, once at the Kennedy Center and then to Reuters again last night, about canceling the election. Why is he talking about this?
I believe you're referring to the president's interview at Reuters last night. I was in that interview. It was a closed-door interview. Obviously, there was not audio or video. The president was simply joking. He was saying, we're doing such a great job. We're doing everything the American people thought. Maybe we should just keep rolling. But he was speaking facetiously.
Yeah, it's not funny. And no, he wasn't. There you go. That's simple. Take him seriously and literally. He may be completely out of his mind at this point, but that doesn't mean he can't make sure certain things happen. According to ABC News, more good news, this year, 1.4 million fewer Americans signed up for insurance plans under the Affordable Care Act. The deadline in most states was today. It will not surprise you to learn that the key reason for lower enrollment is the expiration of enhanced ACA premium tax credits. These helped reduce or eliminate monthly premiums. They were expanded during the COVID pandemic in order to increase financial assistance and eligibility, which sounds like a reasonable thing to do during a global pandemic. And also, it sounds like a reasonable thing to want to extend them, because it is much better to have people who have good health insurance and aren't getting sick all the time. We have Donald and the Republicans and a small handful of spineless Democrats to thank for the fact that the ACA credits, the extension of the ACA credits was allowed to lapse. If you remember, these credits were a sticking point during the longest government shutdown in our history. Republicans opposed this extension and Democrats insisted upon them. Republicans were so desperate to make sure that millions of Americans didn't have health insurance anymore that they shut down the government rather than negotiate with Democrats. Then, as PBS reported, 8 spineless Democratic senators who clearly do not understand what is at stake here voted with Republicans to reopen the government without even demanding that the ACA credit protections be added to the 2026 spending bill. Democrats continued pushing to extend the subsidies, but because they gave away every single bit of leverage they had, it never happened. Now, the credits have expired, and for the people who receive them, the cost for a marketplace plan will go up an average of 114%, more than double what they're paying now. Under the Trump regime, Americans are already struggling with rising costs and a tanking economy. For many, this rise in healthcare costs adds another massive financial strain. Here's how one mother from Georgia expressed how she's feeling about all of this on MSN Now.
A little over a year ago, I had so much hope for my kids, and today it feels overwhelmingly crushing. I'm afraid for my youngest access to the medication that he needs to live. A type 1 diabetic can't live without insulin. And I'm afraid that if something happened to me, that he would not be able to manage, a system that doesn't value his life.
I think that is the simplest, most concise way of putting it. Republicans don't care about human life of any kind. Not even their own or the lives of their children or grandchildren, because they seem hell-bent not just on destroying democracy in America, but destroying our planet. Just a quick thing to wrap it up. Imagine where we might be if those 8 Democrats had held their ground. Or maybe let's not imagine it because it's kind of depressing. All right. I think it's Thursday. I thought it was Thursday on Monday, so I'm not entirely sure. So let's take a breath. Whew. All right. It is time for our emotional support moment. This week, I think it's really important that we set aside some time before we get to our emotional support moment. No, you can do it after. That's okay. Call your representatives. Seriously, Democrats cannot continue to believe that any of this is okay or that any of this can be fixed around the edges. Call them, demand action against the Trump regime's dangerous tactics in Minnesota and elsewhere. But first, let's chill for a sec. Here's a clip of a tranquil creek flowing through a snow-covered forest. That sounds lovely. So let's watch. Nice. Okay. I'm an open water person, like, bays, oceans, seas. But there is something lovely about the sound of a babbling brook babbling. Okay, let us get to your comments, questions, etc. Donnie Brad is a new member. Fabulous. Welcome. Sheila344 super sticker. Thank you so much for that. That's great. Hi to Cheryl. Thank you so much as always for gifting one Mary Trump Media membership. And hi to Cheryl too for thank you very much. Comment, divide it up as you like. JC Swear Jar, Kitty Puppy Treats, whatever you like. Oh, we will. Thank you. Joe Colorado, the man for whom the swear jar was named. Thank you very much. Comment, we missed you yesterday, Fee. Happy to see you back. Well, thank you. I had stuff to do. But I have to say, I love it that you guys show up and hang out together anyway. That makes me happy. Oh, curious, Joe, if you could weigh in on this. How much does the man who was interviewed during the ICE raid owe us for the swear jar? I loved it, but I lost count of how many times he said that word. Sheila3444, sorry. Thank you again for gifting one Mary Trump Media membership. Excellent. Donna has been a member for 8 months. That is fantastic. Comment, hi, Mary and all the team. Thank you so much for all that you do to keep us informed. I appreciate you all. Well, we appreciate you as well. Irene is a new member. Thank you and welcome. It's great to have you here. Deanne, thank you, first of all. Comment, new member here. Fabulous. I appreciate all your hard work. It's extremely difficult to follow the news lately. Yes, indeed it is. It is. It's craziness. Frownhuffs gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Thank you so much. Aaron, thank you very much for that. Comment for the Cat and Dog Treats Fund. Cool. Because, the cats and the dogs, you can never give them too many. Well, I guess technically you could give them too many treats, but, they deserve all of the treats. ECM 958, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Nanner 8 gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Thank you so very much for that, as always. Susan, thank you very much. Comment, Mary coming in fire. Preach, Mary. I'm trying. I am trying because holy cow. The things about which we should be shouting from the rooftops. Something else. Margie has been a member for 6 months. That is most excellent. Comment, love you, Mary. Everyone, call your reps every day. Every day, please. Margie, again, thank you so much for gifting 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Brigand 45, thank you as always for that. Comment, when we get to the sifting through the rubble stage, we must change things radically and get a much bigger swear jar. Yeah. Stay strong, Minnesota and fellow Americans. I heartily co-sign. Susan, thank you so much as always for gifting 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Truly wonderful. Sorry, I must hydrate. It's very cold here suddenly and extremely windy. Richard, thank you very much. Richard, comment, I can't believe I have to say this. It makes me want to cry, but I think we need to start bracing ourselves for our own American Night of Broken Glass. Yeah. Yep. I agree with you. AZA 351C, thank you very much. Comment, Machado gave him her Nobel Peace Prize. The irony of bullying someone into giving you a Peace Prize is palpable. Stay free. Cheers from Australia. I love Australia. I'm very excited. Qualifications for the Australian Open started. So that means that, yes, tennis, a lot of tennis will be in my life shortly. Yeah, I mean, look, everything I hear about Machado makes me wonder why the Nobel Committee decided she should get the Nobel Peace Prize, because here she is. She goes from calling for the ouster of a right-wing autocrat, and now she's making common cause with a fascist. Also, Donald, you pathetic little man, having somebody give you their Nobel Peace Prize doesn't mean you actually won one. Although, when Meryl Streep gave me her Academy Award for Sophie's Choice, I thought that made perfect sense. I mean, that's what it... Is that going to assuage his little ego? I don't know. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's despicable, but she wants to be president of Venezuela. And apparently she thinks he has the power to install her. And like most people in the world who have power, she understands how to manipulate this pathetic little creature. Give him a shiny prize that he doesn't deserve. 1961 Paul is a new member. Thank you so much and welcome. Richard, thank you so much as always. Comment, Levitt telling us that the state level doesn't want to work with federal is rich, considering that Minnesota has been blocked from investigating Goods murder. I know, like it's just, it is so Orwellian, and I know that's old news, but it's Orwellian, and she's Goebbels. Let's face it. Just keep lying, tell the same lie, and it sinks in, and then people think it's the truth. The difference is like but doesn't matter. I guess it was bring your child to fascist day, because I kept hearing a baby in the background during her press conference. In the middle of nowhere. Thank you so much. Wow, so much. Truly, that's incredibly generous of you. Question: anyone out there remember Hogan's Heroes? I loved Hogan's Heroes. Show Me Your Papers was a joke. Not so funny now. I think ICE is worse than Nazis. I've protested since Vietnam and I'm exhausted. JC swear jar donation. Is there no other words? Oh my God. Caroling. I just, despicable. Yeah, she's despicable. Like, she's just a vile, vile little Nazi. I would not say yet that ICE is worse than Nazis, but I'm sure they're trying to be. Fairy Moon Witch, thank you so much for that. Cat treat fee. Cats for president 2020. Oh my God. Imagine how awesome the world would be if cats were in charge of everything. I mean, we wouldn't get anything done, but who cares? Neuropilot 1, thank you very much. Comment: if I had words, I'd need the swear jar fee. Thanks. Yeah. Yes, words, as Virginia Woolf said, words run dry sometimes. Dorothy, thank you very much for that. Question: are Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower being seized? By whom? I've heard nothing about that, but I'll check it out. I mean, I know Mar-a-Lago was invaded by a bunch of furries, but I don't think that's what you meant. Karnak Magnificent, thank you very much. This is for Joe Colorado's swear jar fee. Yes. Again, we need to run a poll. Swear jar, swear bucket, swear canyon. I don't know. Swear basket. What's big enough? Swear dumpster. Oh no, what do they call those things? What are they called? Those massive things that people that, if they're doing construction of their house and they like all of the old drywall gets thrown into them. I don't remember what they're called, but maybe that would be big enough. Valerie, thank you first of all for being a super sticker and for your gift. Fairman Witch, thank you again. As always, this also for the Joe Colorado swear jar. Karnak Magnificent, thank you again. Comment or question: I had the misfortune to have Coward Hawley as a so-called representative. Should I bother anymore? He's such a tool. Eesh. Well, senator, actually, which is worse. Yeah, he caved and basically decided, you know what? Congress has no responsibilities whatsoever to the Constitution or the American people. Donald can do whatever he wants, and we're just going to sit by and let it happen. He is indeed a tool. Zella Joey, thank you so very much. As always, comment: Minnesotan. It's obvious ICE was sent to terrorize the public. The USA is a multicolored nation. We like it that way. Fuck the swear jar. No apology for swearing. Thank you. Yeah. I see your point. There should not be a fee for swearing. But because who could help themselves, right? Truly. If we didn't have swearing, where would we be? But still, it's nice to chip in a little bit for the swear jar, but it doesn't have to be. It could be for the cat treats or the dog treats. Rick Robin, thank you so much for that. As always, comment: Jonathan Ross's family won't feel safe after what he did to Renee Good, Mary. I mean, he'd get doxxed. His family got doxxed. They'll disown him. I don't know. It just never seems to work that way on the right, because we on the left, we don't threaten people. We don't go after people. I mean, yeah, maybe there'll be a lot of protesting outside. I don't know. I think that they just do a better job at protecting their own. Let's put it that way. Living art geckos. Cool. Thank you very much. Comment, my emotional support moment. There is no statute of limitations on murder. True. Renee Nicole Good. I hope Donald, not you. Well, Donald, I just automatically translate that into Donald. Just so there's no confusion, is tried by the Hague. Thank you for all you do, Barry. Well, you're welcome. And he should be tried by the Hague. I think the entirety of the Republican Party should be tried by the Hague. Caprick is a new member. Thank you so much and welcome. Rebecca has been a member for 2 months. That's fantastic. Mille grazie, Barry. Mille grazie lei. My apologies for my horrible accent. I try, but Secant squared, I think. Thank you very, very much. Comment, new member and only regret not becoming one sooner. Thank you for what you do, Mary. You are one of my shred of hope for the future. Well, thanks. That's nice to hear. I appreciate that. Elise, thank you very much. Excellent. Jenna has been a member for 8 months. Very cool. Yes, 8 months. Cool. Comment, can't think of a better place to be for this shit except maybe another planet or a coma. Well, that'll make the time pass. And thanks for the time you took to answer my question the other night. I appreciate it. Thank you. And you're welcome. Thank you for showing up and being a member for 8 months. That's just awesome. My name's not important. Thank you so very much for that. Very kind of you. Comment, I'm late to the show. I read somewhere that Noam said we should be ready to show our papers. Not sure if it's true. Do you know if this is true? And if so, what are your thoughts on this? I haven't heard that, but I mean, do we seriously think she's not going to say that? That's not just where we're headed. That's where we are. Gina, thank you very much. Comment, I think we have entered the Second American Revolution. Well, we're definitely going there, going in that direction. Kirkshire, thank you very much for that. That's really generous of you. Comment, Mary, I'm horrified at everything that's happening. How can you stay sane with common blood in your veins with him? Well, I have nothing in common with him other than, I guess, yes, some genes, some DNA. But clearly, doesn't matter, right? I mean, biology is not destiny, first of all. And I don't say this often, so let you in a little secret. I was actually found under a rock. Yeah. So I mean, other than my eyebrows, truly, I have nothing in common with these people. It's kind of cool, actually. I mean, not the eyebrow part, because Jesus, that they take work. Paul, thank you so much for that comment. Wouldn't it be fun if they revoked the peace? Yeah, it would be awesome. And they should. I mean, they've already mentioned that it's non-transferable, but come on, guys. What were you thinking? Do your due diligence. Mary the Jedi, thank you so much. That's really kind. Comment, 7 FIFA World I always say it wrong. FIFA World Cup games are supposed to be held here in Massachusetts this summer at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. I worry that ICE will use the game as an opportunity to arrest people and rough them up. They will. They absolutely will. So people in blue states should not be going to FIFA games, and other countries should not be coming here. Just no. Don't do it. It's not going to happen, of course, because money. But that would send a message. Susan, thank you again, as always. Comment, thank you for shining a spotlight on the horrific ice thugs, refilling the swear jar. It's been a hell of a fucking week. See, I'm not using asterisks. I'm just going to say it. I owe the swear jar or bucket or canyon or whatever we're going to be calling it so much money that I have lost count. Simon, thank you very much. Comment, if we were ruled by cats, my dog would definitely be on a terror list. Uh-oh. See, I forgot that part. Yeah, maybe not the best idea, but still better than people. Maybe you could figure out how to have some kind of joint governing structure with cats and dogs. I don't know. Susan, thank you again. Comment one last thank you for Mary and Mary Trump team for the supersized show tonight. Overtime fee. Oh my God. It's like I have to be somewhere. I got to go. Thank you for reminding me of that, Susan. Jeez. Limited Light. Thank you very much. Question: is it wrong of me to call Donald Donna Joanne? No. Call him whatever you want. I don't think it's. I think that's kind of pulling your punches, but you can call him whatever you want. Randy Rainbow calls him Donald Jessica Trump, which I like. All right, that does it for us. I am really running late. So thank you so much, everybody who's watching on YouTube, streaming on Twitter, and at our Substack, The Good at Us. Thank you to all of our new members, everybody gifting memberships, all of our super stickers, and people giving us gifts. Thank you. It truly, truly helps. Also, to our amazing moderators for keeping this place awesome. And it's really been one of those days, and my team has been working like maniacs. So thank you guys for just keeping this all going under very difficult circumstances, quite frankly. All right, that does it for us. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Watch our videos, like them, share them, comment on them. It really helps. YouTube is not our friend right now. So anything you could do, make sure that you click on the bell icon to make sure you get alerted whenever new videos drop. And don't forget Trek Politics every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Love doing that show with my friend and co-host Bob Seska. And honestly, if you guys just checked it out, I promise you will love it too. So watch that. All right, I'll be back tomorrow night for another episode of Mary Trump Live at 6 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.